ArieForce 1. This is the new for 2023 RMC coaster that opened at FunSpot Atlanta a few weeks ago before the making of this video. The park that this is located in is in a weird location because before FunSpot had purchased the property, the place used to go by the name of Dixieland Fun Park. That was a small family entertainment center for locals to visit, but over time, FunSpot has added a few new rides like their Flying Eagles and Tilt-A-Whirl just this year. And a few years back, they got a new multi-level go-kart track. So the placement for ArieForce 1 is in a very odd location to say the least. When you are driving up to the park, the ride seems out of place because as you crest over the hill on the road, all you see is this massive towering roller coaster on the side of the road. As you drive into the park itself, the coaster sign is directly in front of you, so the coaster makes a very good impression. When you enter the main entrance, you can see a long stretch of airtime hills in the distance, and you have to walk to the back of the park and to the left to get to the entrance. One thing I like about ArieForce 1 is that when you're next to the arcade building, you cannot see what's behind there, so it kind of makes it a mystery to what is there. Walking up to the ride, right as you pass under the structure on your right hand side, you will find the test seat to enter the queue if you walk to the left. And on opening day, there were a bunch of temporary fences since the ride generated a long line, but as of a few weeks after opening, they are all gone because at the moment the ride does not generate that much of a line. As you enter the queue building, designed to look like an aircraft carrier, you have your elevator on your left, and in front of you there are some barrels and some other theming, like there are some few Easter eggs on the whiteboard at the desk. Then you walk up some stairs to the right, and when I was in the station, it was a station wait, and walk-ons at some times of the day. And there was one train on, which was crazy for that big of an attraction, with that little line. And also half the people there were enthusiasts. I didn't see many people from the general public. One thing that I like about ArieForce 1 is that there is no gate preventing people from walking onto the station platform from the exit side. This could be very helpful on busier days if it ever gets busy, because people have still been on the platform while the dispatching is. There is even a little bench onto the side where people can sit and wait for their families or friends while they are on the ride. Now when you board, you step into their Generation 2 with 5-car trains instead of the usually 6-car long trains. It has a beautifully designed lead car that looks like a paper airplane, which makes sense since the ride is a spin-off of the name ArieForce 1 and the owner of FunSpot, John Arie Jr.'s name. When the ride starts, you first go into 2 small bunny hills in your pre-lift section, which give you a little bit of air. Then you reach your 154 tall foot lift hill. In the first half of the lift hill, you'll be moving at a very slow pace because the train behind you, if it is running 2 trains, needs to park into the station first. Due to the very short final brake run, I will get into that later. Then when the trains clear the block brake section, the train runs at full speed on the lift, and you crest over the top into your first drop. This is an amazing drop featuring some floater airtime in the front and some mild ejector in the back few rows. If this was on most other coasters, this would be the highlight of the ride, but due to the elements that are later in the layout, the drop was kind of overshadowed. After the drop, you go into the one-of-a-kind Raven Trust dive, which is essentially a dive loop, but you twist outwards then twist the opposite direction. This element is better in the front because you get a bit of floater into the element than you are whipped around the rest of the inversion. I have asked other people about the speed hill that comes up next since you get a very good pop of airtime. They say that it's on par with Steel Vengeance and Zadras or even better. Then you go into the longest zero-G stall in North America. The stall lasts for about 2 seconds and you feel completely weightless throughout the entire thing. Then you go into the outward banked airtime hill with some strong ejector. This might be the best outward banked hill, but if it isn't, it's one of the best. The airtime lasts for longer than you think because it twists back to the ground level very far down. Then you go into your double up. The step up gives some ejector for the whole train, but the second hill gives you some amazing ejector airtime as you go up and over it. Since you start being thrown out of your seat on the way up and then down the other side of the hill, this might be the best airtime moment on the ride. It almost feels like as it's its second drop, because the drop is bigger than you would think. Then you go into this very tight zero-G roll, and on opening day, people have been calling it the arcade roll, since it goes right over the arcade. You get whipped through this element because compared to the hill before, this element is tiny. According to others, this feels almost as if RMC tried to make a Mosasaurus roll. Then you go into the quick off-axis airtime hill featuring a quick but forceful pop of airtime for the whole train. This element is better on the right side of the train than the left, and this leads you into a very tight low to the ground turn, giving riders a good dose of G-forces. It is almost a grout, but right before you grow out, you twist very smoothly into a barrel roll. Then you enter your chili dip over the arcade building, which gets you ready for the quad down. Now this set of airtime hills was so powerful to the point where I had bruises on my thighs when I left. It is very different from Lightning Rod's quad down because you don't have a varying sizes of hills or any twists. It is like same size airtime hill back to back to back. Like take Twisted Timber's 3 camelbacks, but squish them down and then you have 4 of them in a row. That's what this feels like. You barely feel as you are dropping down into the last hill. The 4 hills are some of the most intense moments of airtime that I've experienced in the world. Then you get one good last pop of airtime as you go up into the brake run. Everyone in the train flies to their seat as they ride up into this hill. But the one bad thing about this ride is that the brake run is very short and can only accommodate one train. That means the brakes have to hit very hard because you are still going at good speed, and when you hit those brakes, it is a mid airtime hill. So when you hit the brakes, you will most likely lurch forwards a good bit. Overall, ArieForce 1 is a top tier RMC. Personally, it is at my number 2 at the recording of this video, but that could change soon. I give it a 10 out of 10 because the airtime on this thing is amazing. The quad down is one of the most intense set of airtime hills that I've ever experienced. Now thank you guys for watching, and please subscribe because there will be more Coaster Source videos very soon.